Cinderella lived with her stepmother and two stepsisters. They were not kind to her at all. They were very mean to her, treating her more like a servant than a family member. They made her do all the chores, from dawn until dusk, without a moment's rest.
I work from morning till night, scrubbing, cleaning, and cooking. I dream of a better life, one where I am free from this endless toil.
Cinderella cleaned the floors, washed the dishes, and scrubbed the laundry. Every day was the same. Her stepsisters had beautiful dresses, adorned with lace and jewels. They went to parties and dances, enjoying the luxuries of life. Cinderella had only rags to wear. Her clothes were old and tattered. She longed to go to the ball, to experience the joy and excitement of such an event.
Look at her, always dreaming, always hoping for something better. She'll never go to the ball. She's just a servant.
Ha 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 ha, she's just Cinderella covered in cinders. She belongs in the ashes.
Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were cruel, never missing a chance to belittle her. They laughed at her dreams and called her names, making her feel small and insignificant. Cinderella tried to stay positive, despite the harsh treatment she received. She believed that someday her life would change. She held on to hope no matter how bleak things seemed.
I wish for a fairy godmother, someone who can help me escape this life. I want magic to change my life, to bring me happiness and freedom. I know in my heart that good things will happen, that my dreams will come true. I just have to wait, to be patient and keep believing.
Cinderella often sat by the fireplace, covered in cinders, reflecting on her life. This is how she got her nickname Cinderella, from the cinders that clung to her clothes and skin. She wished for a fairy godmother, someone who could transform her world. She wanted magic to change her life, to lift her out of her dreary existence. She knew in her heart that good things would happen, that her dreams were not in vain. She just had to wait, to hold on to hope and believe in the possibility of a brighter future. One day, a royal invitation arrived at their doorstep, carried by a regal messenger. It was an invitation to the grand ball at the palace. Cinderella's stepsisters were overjoyed and couldn't contain their excitement. They dreamt of dancing with the prince, imagining the grandeur of the event and the possibility of capturing his heart.
Oh, I can't wait to dance with the prince. It will be a night to remember.
This is going to be the best night ever. I can already picture myself in a beautiful gown, twirling under the chandeliers.
Cinderella also longed to go to the ball. She could almost see herself there, amidst the splendor and music. But deep down, she knew it was impossible. Her stepmother would never allow it. Cinderella's stepsisters began planning their dresses, discussing the latest fashions and how they would outshine everyone else. They talked endlessly about meeting the prince, giggling and preening in front of the mirrors, lost in their own fantasies. Cinderella watched them from the shadows, her heart aching with a longing she couldn't express. She wished she could go, to wear a beautiful gown and dance the night away.
I know my stepmother won't let me go. She would never allow me to have such joy. I have no suitable dress, nothing that would befit a grand ball, and I have too much work to do. My chores will never end.
Cinderella sighed sadly, feeling the weight of her reality pressing down on her. She tried to push away her dreams, knowing they would only lead to disappointment. She continued her chores, scrubbing floors and washing clothes, trying to ignore the excitement around her. She tried to ignore the festive preparations, the laughter and joy that filled the house. She knew she didn't belong in that world of elegance and celebration. She was just a servant girl, bound by her duties and her stepmother's cruelty. She had no hope of attending the ball, no chance of living her dream. It was just a dream, a beautiful, unattainable dream that she held close to her heart. The day of the ball finally arrived, and the entire kingdom was buzzing with excitement. The grand palace was adorned with the finest decorations, and the elegant ballroom was ready to host the most magnificent event of the year. Cinderella's stepsisters were dressed in the most exquisite finery. They looked absolutely stunning, their gowns shimmering under the light. They were the epitome of beauty and grace, ready to steal the spotlight at the ball. Cinderella, with her kind heart, helped them get ready. She adjusted their dresses, fixed their hair, and ensured they looked perfect. Despite her own longing, she put their needs first. She yearned to go with them, to be a part of the magical night. But deep down, she knew she couldn't. Her heart ached with the desire to join the festivities, but reality held her back.
"You can't go, Cinderella." They said it with such finality, crushing any hope she had. "You have too much work to do." They piled on the chores, ensuring she would be too busy to even think about the ball.
You would never fit in, Cinderella. Their words were like daggers, piercing her already fragile heart.
Ha ha ha, look at her, thinking she could go to the ball. Their laughter echoed in her ears, a cruel reminder of her place.
Cinderella's heart broke into a million pieces. The weight of their words was too much to bear. Tears streamed down her face, each drop a testament to her shattered dreams. She ran into the garden seeking solace among the flowers. She sobbed uncontrollably, her cries blending with the night. She felt like her dreams would never come true. She felt utterly alone, abandoned by hope.
I wish for a miracle. Her voice was a whisper, a plea to the universe. I wish for a way to go to the ball. Her heart was filled with longing, her mind with dreams of the night. I want to dance with the prince. She imagined his strong arms around her, leading her in a graceful waltz. I want to experience the magic. She dreamed of a night filled with wonder and enchantment. I don't know what to do. I feel so helpless. Her despair was overwhelming, her hope dwindling.
Cinderella wished for a miracle, her eyes searching the stars for a sign. She wanted to dance with the prince, to feel the magic of the night. She wanted to experience the magic, to be swept away in a whirlwind of enchantment. She didn't know what to do. She felt helpless, her dreams slipping away. Suddenly, a shimmering light appeared. A kind woman stood before Cinderella. It was her fairy godmother.
I can't believe my eyes. My dreams might come true.
The fairy godmother smiled warmly. She told Cinderella not to cry. She said she would help her go to the ball.
"Don't cry, dear. I will help you go to the ball."
Cinderella's heart leaped with joy. She couldn't believe her luck. Magic was real.
"Now get me a pumpkin, some mice, and a few lizards."
Cinderella quickly gathered everything. She was eager to see what would happen. She felt a surge of hope.
"Trust me, Cinderella. I will make everything all right."
Cinderella believed her. She felt a warmth spread through her. She knew her life was about to change. She was ready for the magic. The fairy godmother waved her wand over the pumpkin.
It transformed into a beautiful carriage.
The mice became horses, the lizards became footmen.
It was truly magical.
The fairy godmother then turned Cinderella's rags into a stunning gown.
She gave her glass slippers.
Cinderella felt like a princess.
She was radiant. She was ready for the ball.
The fairy godmother warned Cinderella.
The magic would only last until midnight.
Cinderella promised to be home before then.
She couldn't wait to go to the ball. She was filled with excitement.
Cinderella thanked her fairy godmother.
She climbed into the carriage.
The horses galloped away. Cinderella was on her way to the ball.
She was finally living her dream. She was overjoyed.
Cinderella arrived at the palace.
The ballroom was magnificent. Music filled the air. People were dancing.
Cinderella felt a little nervous.
She took a deep breath and entered.
Everyone stopped dancing. They stared at Cinderella. She was so beautiful. The prince saw her. He was captivated by her beauty.
He walked towards her. Cinderella felt her heart flutter.
The prince asked Cinderella to dance.
She accepted.
They waltzed across the floor. Cinderella felt like she was floating.
She had never been so happy. She forgot all her worries.
The prince was charmed by Cinderella. He couldn't take his eyes off her.
He wanted to know who she was. Cinderella felt a connection with him.
She felt like she had known him forever. The night was magical. Cinderella and the prince danced the night away. They talked and laughed. They felt a special bond. Cinderella forgot all about the time. She was lost in the moment. She was happy. The music swirled around them. The lights shimmered. Cinderella felt like she was in a dream. She wished the night would never end. She was completely captivated by the prince.
I felt a spark with the prince. I had never felt this way before. I felt understood. I felt cherished. I felt like I had finally found someone who saw me.
The prince felt the same way. He had never met anyone like Cinderella. He was drawn to her kindness and her beauty. He knew he had to see her again. He was falling in love. Suddenly, the clock began to chime. Midnight. Cinderella remembered her fairy godmother's warning. She had to leave. She pulled away from the prince. She couldn't stay.
I have to go.
Cinderella ran out of the ballroom. She didn't want the magic to break while she was with the prince. She lost one of her glass slippers as she ran. She couldn't stop to pick it up. The prince chased after Cinderella. He wanted to know who she was. He called out to her.
I'm sorry.
But Cinderella was too fast. He couldn't catch her. He was heartbroken. The prince picked up the glass slipper. He vowed to find the mysterious woman who had captured his heart. He knew he would recognize her anywhere. He held the slipper tightly. Cinderella arrived home just as the magic wore off. Her carriage turned back into a pumpkin. Her horses became mice again. Her footmen became lizards. Her beautiful gown turned back into rags. Cinderella was sad that the night was over, but she was grateful for the magical experience. She would never forget her time with the prince. She held on to the memory.
It was a night I'll never forget.
The prince searched the entire kingdom for the woman who fit the glass slipper. He went from house to house. He tried the slipper on every maiden, but no one's foot fit. He began to lose hope. Cinderella's stepsisters tried on the slipper. They desperately wanted to be the prince's bride, but the slipper was too small. They couldn't force their feet into it. They were furious. Finally, the prince arrived at Cinderella's house. Her stepsisters tried to hide her. They didn't want the prince to find her, but the prince insisted on seeing every maiden. The prince saw Cinderella. He knew instantly that she was the one. He tried the glass slipper on her foot. It fit perfectly. Cinderella's stepsisters gasped in shock. They couldn't believe it.
It's a perfect fit.
Cinderella and the prince were overjoyed to be reunited. They embraced. They were finally together. The prince took Cinderella back to the palace. They were married. Cinderella and the prince lived happily ever after. She never forgot her magical night at the ball. She was kind and loving to everyone. She and the prince ruled the kingdom with wisdom and compassion. They were truly happy.